What's going on, everybody? This is Chris Classic dropping a car vlog. Hope you guys are having a blessed Friday. If nobody tells you, remember that God loves you, Christ loves you, and I love you as well. Make sure you subscribe to the Taking Home podcast, where I talk about professional wrestling topics, and I put up my matches as Classic Alpha, professional wrestler of 13 years. Make sure you also subscribe to C3 Ultimate Wrestling. That is me and my wife's professional wrestling company. We have all our matches from 2025, all our shows from 2025 available on the playlist on the channel, and also from previous years and shows. So make sure you look at the old shows, look at the stories and stuff, look at how everything is connected and stuff. Make sure you also get tickets for Big Business, BIG Business, February 21st, 2026. Dyer, Indiana, Harold's Private Venue. Tickets are on sale now on Eventbrite. They're $5 off, but they'll be $5 more at the door. Bars. Hope y'all are having a great morning. Hey, what's going on? Hope everything is well. But sorry, y'all. Hardcore matches. Hi, what's up? Hardcore matches. Let's talk about them. The Raleigh guy. Oh, what up? Oh, that Raleigh guy. All right, everything cool, everything copacetic. Anyway, hardcore matches can be fun. They can look fun, but then they can also be absolutely disgusting. I think now with the current market of it, most of these are absolutely disgusting. No point in doing them. Oversaturation, and it's not as special as it used to be. You know, I've had matches that had hardcore themes to where chairs and objects are involved. I've had those matches before, and almost every match that I've had, I'm trying to make sure that the match is special. Everything's great. I try to make sure those matches are special because these are kind of matches that you should not see every show, every week. You shouldn't see these every show. You shouldn't see these every week. You shouldn't see these at a lot of stuff. I'm not even saying that they got to be rare, but they definitely have to be uncommon. With social media, with a lot of wrestling companies, with a lot of stuff that's uploaded on YouTube, Twitter, X, Facebook, you see one every week. And I understand everybody's trying to do their own thing. But the thing is, it becomes oversaturation. Now, when you have an oversaturation in your company, that's a problem in itself. We can talk about AEW, we can talk about Blood and Guts, we can talk about all this other stuff that they do. It is an oversaturation. I mean, some people love Blood and Guts, and to each their own. Our bro just success. Thank you. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Thank you. Praying for your success and everything too. But I do think it's an oversaturation of hardcore matches. Like I said, when I used to play SmackDown on PlayStation, you know, you could go to special and they have these kind of matches. And I said, everybody clicks these kind of matches. AEW, for example, they had Blood and Guts. They had all kind of stuff. Mirrors, chairs, kendo sticks, bats. They had all of this stuff. But it wasn't too long ago, Scott Blue and Tony Storm had a match where it was a hardcore match. And then before that, it wasn't that long ago, before the women had like a tag team tables match and stuff like that. And then Jon Moxley doing stuff all the time. Darby Allin doing stuff all the time. All this hardcore element. And it's not even special anymore. If a person can fly, the first person that can fly, let's say they can fly, it'll be special. But if you continue to see it, and if more people continue to know how to do it, they learn how to do it, it won't be special no more. Because everybody's doing it. And when I say hardcore, I'm not just saying hardcore, I'm also saying death matches and all of this other stuff too. It's an oversaturation of it. Now, when I was younger, we looked at guys like Sabu, New Jag, Abdullah the Butcher, Bruiser Brody, a little bit before my time, but still we look at these guys, Terry Funk and stuff like that, and then, you know, this is like some of their specialties, but they can actually wrestle too, right? Maybe not much on the Abdullah part, but still. Maybe not even much on the New Jack, but even then they had charisma and stuff like that. They had something special about them, right? You know, Abdullah looked different. Nobody really looked like him. Bruiser Brody, look how tall and strong he looked, and all that. New Jack, how he dressed and stuff, you know. And charisma and a whole bunch of other stuff, especially the stuff that he was doing on Smoky Mountain, on Cornette's promotion, what he was saying, the promos and stuff. Now, these people who I say need to work on promos and stuff and personality, now they like, nah, let me just do hardcore matches because I don't want to talk, or I don't want to develop a different character. I want to show a dark and nasty side of my character. That's not needed. Everybody don't need a dark and nasty side to their character. Now you just a person that uses objects who don't know how to cut a promo. Now you more like them now. You're more common than uncommon now. You know what I'm saying? Here we go again. But still, going back into it, these matches can be special. But like I said, I've seen great hardcore matches. Obviously, I put Punk and Drew's Hell in a Cell match. What they did was good. Honestly, Thunder Rosa versus Britt Baker, they had that lights out match, and then they had their cage match. That match was good. You know, that was like some of the first times people have seen women do stuff like that. But then now it's just like an oversaturation of it, or even in other things. You know, I've seen like flyers where somebody's just bleeding and stuff, and I'm like, man, it's a lot of hepatitis going on. But I also think that a lot of people do these hardcore matches because they don't want to actually wrestle for real. They don't actually want to wrestle. They don't actually want to do promos. They actually don't want to work on their character. You know, people who love hardcore, okay, cool. That's your character. I'm just a hardcore person. I'm just like a number. You know, and it's money in it. You know, it's money in these kind of matches because let's be honest, us humans, we love looking at carnage and stuff. You know, Cornette, he had that little thing, I think it was on Vice, he was talking about how sometimes people want to look at a fight and stuff, and sometimes you root for people. Even then, I knew somebody that was called that referred to themselves as like a walking car wreck because people are curious about a car wreck. You know, yesterday, hopefully everybody's okay, there was a huge car wreck around my house. This lady, she walked from dang near gas station to dang near across the street to the bank parking lot to see what was going on. And she was on the phone because she was talking to somebody about how crazy that car wreck is. That's what everybody's trying to do. Sometimes it works, and sometimes it does not. You get what I'm saying? I'm thinking about the Blood and Guts match, the women's match, right? In a few minutes, Sky Blue turned to Sky Red because she was bleeding a lot. And when I looked at the comments, a lot of people was like, oh my gosh, Sky Blue should get pushed. She should go be a main eventer. She should go for the titles because of what she did and the sacrifice that she did because she looked crazy in there. And I'm like, and even Cornette said it too. It's like, for bleeding everywhere? Is this the standard of pushes now? For wanting to bleed everywhere, to spread blood and stuff like that. But I've seen some of the moves, and the moves didn't hit that well. Stuff was missing. People forgot stuff and all that. We just, you know, somebody bled a lot. Mind you, the internet wrestling community talks about how certain people need to not wrestle or learn how to wrestle, but the fact that this young lady bled all over her clothes and on everybody and said, I love doing this, that shows she had heart for bleeding like that. This is why I be saying is that sometimes people can be hypocritical. Sometimes people can be biased and stuff like that. And honestly, it doesn't really bother me that much. Just be honest. Just keep it 100. Keep it 100 about the situation. Keep it 100. Hey, I like this person. They may need to work on something, but I do think that this person has potential. Me, I feel like she still needs to train a little more. And it's not just her. It's a lot of them. It's a lot of them. And to be honest, if I'm saying this about the women's Blood and Guts match, a lot of people said that match was better than the male match. So what do the males need to work on? I didn't watch the match. I just saw clips. So what does that even say for itself? That the men need to step it up too. I'm tired of seeing the bed of nails. I'm sick of seeing that. I'm sick of glass. I'm sick of blood. I'm sick of it. The stipulation to the surrender is kind of stupid. I agree. It should be a pinfall or a submission. I don't like that. I understand trying to do something different, especially because usually blood and guts, they try to do it before war games and stuff. I understand trying to do something different. However, the I surrender part, I don't like. I truly don't like that. If you have a favorite wrestling channel, what is it and what would it be? Obviously I'm gonna choose my channel. Who do I watch? I watch this guy called, I think I'm saying his name right, Walt Clyde. He's very interesting. Millennial Smarks, he's very interesting. I listen to Jim Cornette's podcast. I know he's very controversial, but as far as like matches and quality of stuff, I actually agree with a lot of what he says about certain things and how he carries himself. So that'll be some. A hardcore match should only, even if like it could extend a feud, like a blood feud, like Drew and CM Punk. Thank you, I appreciate that. Drew and CM Punk's match was a blood feud, right? Because they didn't just straight bleed when they fought, but when the stipulation started turning up, that's when the blood came in, right? I wonder if the next match of wrestling will have a different outcome. What's your favorite channel? I just answered it. I think Cornette is very good. There's other channels that I do look at, Millennial Smarks and stuff. And some people's channels are slipping my mind. I'm not even gonna lie. Pro Wrestling Bits, he's pretty cool. Yeah, it's a few, but yeah, it's like it doesn't become special anymore. Like if everybody's doing a hardcore match, why do they care? And like I said, even like deathmatch wrestling, they got a little more popular when AEW brought in Nick Gage, who was John Moxley's friend, who's from GCW, and he had a documentary episode on Vice, talking about his life, talking about the drugs and the stealing and almost dying in the ring. And then all of a sudden he was on AEW doing a death match with Chris Jericho, of all people. And then all of a sudden people wanted to do death matches, and then it just started getting popular. Hey, I want to do it now. And then people invested their money. They made companies with death matches, and they've done this kind of stuff. So it's pretty cool. It was pretty cool at one point to a little bit. Like I could probably enjoy one of them, but I don't need to see one every week. Wrestling with Regret, he's pretty cool. Brian Zane is pretty cool. I do miss that. I do miss him reviewing a lot of the current shows. I do know he's busy and he has a whole bunch of other stuff. Like I would love to see him like review like the Blood and Guts and stuff like that. Like I like how he does review a lot of the stuff. I do know he does more of the retro stuff and some certain things. But yeah, Brian Zane, he's pretty cool. He's pretty cool. Shout out to Brian Zane. But still, yeah, that hardcore stuff, like, to me, it does knock off years. I mean, we look at hardcore legends like Mick Foley, and when we look at him, look at the Hell in a Cell cage, and we look at it, they talked about it on Vice. You look at, like, how it breaks him down, like how he was crying looking at it, like touching the cage because of what he did and what he contributed to it. And we love the match and we talk about it, but look at how dangerous it was. The man could have died. He could have passed. He went through the cage twice. Undertaker threw him off, and then when Undertaker chokeslammed him, he went through it. I think he went through the cage when he went against Triple H. So it's like, man, these are things to like think about and stuff like that, to take tolls on the body. Like even like some of these guys who are hardcore legends and stuff like that, some of them, they never become the same. Mick Foley, missing teeth, ear ripped off, injuries, head injuries and stuff. New Jack, before he passed, blind in one eye. Can't remember certain things, can't see certain things, scars up on the face. Abdullah the Butcher, scars on the face, all kind of stuff, hepatitis and all that stuff. And you look at these guys and then you see like, they get paid for this stuff. A lot of the ECW wrestlers drugged out, not all, but drugged out and injuries and stuff and all kind of stuff. Like it's a big toll on that kind of stuff. So it's like if you are going to do those matches, I don't want to say do them safely, but don't do them as often. I don't think it's necessary to do them as much as people want to see them do it. Like, yeah, we want to see blood. Then eventually it's going to be like, hey, we want to see something else. Can we see something else? So, but I also feel like people do hide behind them. They hide behind them because they don't want to train correctly. They don't want to wrestle right. You know, now everybody wants to be the king and queen of hardcore. And it's just like, you know, we have enough of king and queens in hardcore. Why don't you just actually wrestle? Why don't we see that? Like I said, you know, if the standard of pushing somebody is because of how much blood they lost in the match, why are we even caring about training? Why don't we just show people how to hit with chairs and with objects and a whole bunch of stuff? You know what I'm saying? So that's how I feel about the situation. It's like they can be special, they can mean something, and then sometimes they cannot mean something. And like I said, I think a lot of them don't mean something. You know, AEW, they do a lot of women's matches where they're bleeding and stuff, and it's like, oh, well, we just want to show that we can do what the men do. But then it loses being special when everybody's doing it. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. Doesn't mean that you should do it because you can. And even then, spread it out just like the men's matches should be spread it out with hardcore matches. We don't need to see one every month. I don't think a hardcore match needs to be done every month or every 2 weeks. I don't think so. Honestly, I think that why don't you actually, I don't know, wrestle? Because honestly, you know, you're losing viewers already. So maybe you need to try to do something else. You've been doing this stuff for years. Y'all been talking about how dangerous Darby Allin is. You know, Darby being thrown down the stairs was scary. Darby doing a Sting entrance is scary. Darby with nails and thumbtacks and all of this other stuff is scary. Going through the fake glass or whatever, the glass, scary. He do all of this scary stuff, and it's like y'all not doing nothing for that. He's just a dangerous person. It's like, can we show some wrestling? What else can he do? I hope you have a great day too. Appreciate you. Your channel is underrated. You should be more popular. You make quality videos. Thank you. I appreciate that. And you know, we can only go up. We can only go up from here. So like I said, I'm just trying to continue to do content every day, every other day, or whatever like that, because I just want to give my thoughts not only as a YouTuber, but as a wrestler and as a promoter. And even then, like I said, I've had matches where we had no holds barred matches, last man standing matches. We've had things where objects was used and things like that, but it had to mean something. It had to mean something in the match, right? We didn't want to just do it because we can. And I think that's the problem with a lot of wrestling hardcore matches, is that a lot of people do it because they want to. Hey, we just want to do it. Let us do it. And then y'all do it, and then it's not as good as y'all think it is. So, still, I'm in Indiana, but I am here at work. Thank you guys and gals. God bless y'all. Thank y'all for riding with me, hearing my thoughts on hardcore matches. If you do listen to this live after I'm off being live, leave a comment and we can still talk about it. I hope you guys and gals have a great day. This is Chris Classic. Let's take it home.